In this video demonstration, we'll learn how we can use ArcFM Advanced Labeling to help us to symbolize features. Currently, we're looking at transformer banks that are being symbolized as black triangles. They are being labeled based upon the related transformer units manufacturer. Let's have a look at that label expression. Okay, here's the label expression. We are going to be labeling transformer banks, drilling down into the related transformer unit records, and then using the transformer units manufacturer. Now typically, of course, when using ArcFM Advanced Labeling, you are just going to have output directed to labels. But we can also take the output and put it out to a related table if we so desire. So we can do that by working with the Output tab in here. I'm going to write my labels to a related table called AAL XFR Output. I'm going to join this table to the feature layer, and then I'll go ahead and choose Create Table. Let's see what that did for us. I'll just choose OK to the dialog boxes here. And what I want to draw your attention to is on the layer properties, we now have a join that has been created to the transformer table to that table that I just created called AAL XFR Output. Now, what are we going to do with that related table? Well, it makes sense to, of course, populate that table, and there's a button for being able to populate that. If I click on this tool right here, it's going to bring up the Populate Related Table button, and notice that it says Add Related Records to AAL XFR Output. So it detects what the selected layer is in the table of contents, and I can go ahead and click on Apply. Notice that it's going to find distinct labels and start populating that table. It finds Other and Acme. There's an example of an Acme record right there. We'll let this run for a little bit. It finds other records from other manufacturers of transformer units. Let me get a progress bar to indicate how far along we are in the population of this table. Once that table has been populated, we get a summary indicating how many features were added to the join table. Go ahead and choose OK and dismiss there. Now what we can do is go ahead and change the symbology for the transformer layer. So I'll go ahead and double click on Transformer Bank to bring up its layer properties. And then on the Symbology tab, that's where we see the black triangle. But I'm going to use a unique value renderer. And the field that I'm going to look for here is going to be down at the very bottom and is going to be coming from the field that is being joined to by the table that we created. And the field is called AAR Text. So I'll choose Text, and I'll choose Add All Values. So that table is being queried. We see a record here for Acme. I can change the individual symbology for, say, Acme. So I'll change the symbol for Acme to a flame like that, because you've heard some bad things about Acme transformer units. And now we're actually symbolizing based upon transformer unit manufacturers, not just labeling, but actually symbolizing. So now let's have a look at a different example. In this case, I want to symbolize inspection grids based on the total length of distribution main inside of each inspection grid. Let's take a look at the label expression for this. First, the name of the feature class that we're going to be working with is MapGrid. Then we are going to find nearby features. Distribution main is what we're going to be looking for within a search radius of 0. And we'll be collecting and summarizing the length for all of the distribution main features that we find within each map grid. If I click on that top level node within the label expression tree and go to the Output tab here, you'll see that in addition to labeling the length of each amount of contained distribution main, we're also going to be writing labels out to that related table. In this case, it's called distribution main length. And we are going to be treating these values as numeric. I've already used my AAL button over here in order to be able to populate that related table. And then I've gone to the Symbology tab. This time, instead of the Unique Value renderer, I'm using a class breaks or graduated renderer specifying AAR number. And then I am going to be using a color ramp like so. Just so we can see that this is live and linked, if I go ahead and digitize in some distribution main into one of these grids that doesn't have any data associated with it, end my sketch, and then refresh my screen, we'll see that the symbology does indeed change. A QA/QC example of directing output to a related table is working with primary overhead electric line segments. In this case, we're going to be labeling based on conductor info and drilling down into the phase designation attribute of that one-to-many relationship, writing our labels out to conductor info phase designation, and then joining that table to the feature layer. In this case, though, instead of symbolizing based on that related data, we're going to select by attributes. So I'm going to select based on primary overhead electric line segment. I have my joined table, and in this case, I'll be looking for an invalid phase designation of BBC. And when I choose apply, indeed it does select that line for me. So in summary, what we have seen is that ArcFM Advanced Labeling has the ability to output label text to a related table. We can then use that related table for symbology and for selection purposes.